I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. What's up, brother Zay?
What's good, big bro Donnie?
Man, we in here, man. Man, that's another one, man. That's another one. Great to be a part of the podcast, man. It's great to be a part of the live. Great day to be alive.
How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Feeling good. I know you just got out the gym. You just stopped working.
Boy, body sore, but I'm ready though.
Join the stream. Appreciate that, man. Good info, man. Let's get it, man. Let's get it, man. Let's clap it up, man. Let's
get it.
Let's go. Man, we live, man. We lit, man. We live, and we lit. It's another one, man. It's another classic, man. Facts Over Feelings Live. It's your co-host, Danny, my brother Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? You know we can't spit the facts over the real. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be program. You know what I mean? But what we gonna do? We gonna just go straight to it, right?
Let's get it.
Let's get straight to it.
It's 18 after the hour. These last 20 years have seen some meaningful gains for this nation's more than 26 million black citizens. But the black family, as an institution, has been pulled further and further apart. This is the subject of a CBS Reports documentary, which is going to air tomorrow night. It is called The Vanishing Family: Crisis in Black America. It is reported by CBS News correspondent Bill Moyers. He joins us this morning to talk about the program. He's brought along some excerpts so that we can get a sense of what the documentary is about. Now, in this first one, we're going to hear from a girl who first became pregnant at the age of 15.
I dreamed that having a little baby, you could just cuddle in your arm and just hug all the time. Kiss on it and smell it because it's so sweet. I thought it'd be fun until I had her.
The essence of the report is that the black family, particularly in those poor ghettos, is continuing to be torn asunder. And I have remarked, as I've been reading what people have said about the documentary, that among black citizens and white citizens, there is surprise to hear this information.
Yes, this is an issue that we swept under the rug back in the 1960s when it was first raised. It was the time of the pitched civil rights battles trying to defeat Jim Crow and end official discrimination, and blacks felt that to raise this kind of issue now would play into the hands of the white segregationists. But in fact, over the last 25 years, the number of children living with single women, the number of children without fathers, the number of women trying to make it on their own out in the inner city ghettos, these numbers have increased astronomically until the University of Chicago study predicts that if the present trend continues, and it is continuing, by the year 2000, just 14 years from now, over 70% of all black families in this country will be headed by a single woman, and only 30% of black men will be employed. That's a devastating situation.
You know, one of the most powerful lines from the documentary is what you say about how in 2 centuries the black family could not be torn apart, but it is being done in 1 generation. And I wonder if that's because it has a certain impetus. If you were raised by a single parent, you may be more inclined to continue that.
The ghetto is a cage, and its walls are mirrors, and the mirrors reflect back to the people living there the behavior that they're experiencing. So a child grows up with no role model as a father in the house, a child grows up with a mother on welfare, and assumes that's the norm. A peculiar normalcy has taken over in these precincts of America and is repeating itself. Own rules, own regulation, feeds on itself. A vicious, violent cycle has begun. The interesting thing, as you indicated, is that in 1960, 3 out of 4 black children had 2 parents at home. Today, almost 60% live with 1 parent.
I must.
All right, man. Let's go, man. That's
Wow.
That would be the opening segment. This is the Black Divestment. And for those you don't know, it's Facts Over Feelings Live, so we actually get into the facts about things. You know what I'm saying? We put our feelings to the side. We get definitions, we get statistics, we bring all this stuff out for you guys. We do the research for you guys, so that you don't have to do it, but we encourage you to do it as well. So this video, first and foremost, let's shout out Hezekiah News, because both of the videos that we're going to display, they actually come from his channel. He might have ties to Baltimore, and I see he has a lot of videos of Baltimore. I'm not sure, but definitely.
He does. I think he's from here, though. Yeah,
okay.
He's from here, bro. Yeah.
That would make sense. Definitely want to give a shout out to him, and like I said, both of the videos from this channel, both of the videos from this live actually come from his channel. He might have Baltimore ties, we don't know, but we want to give a shout out to him. Like, share, subscribe, go follow his content and stuff like that as well. But as you can see, this automatically talks about the breakdown of the family structure. We're gonna get right into it. It talks about the breakdown of the family structure. So what was your thoughts on that? Let's get into it.
The black family structure. Woo, man. So there's a lot of things about it. I mean, that we got to first identify, and one of the things that we really need to identify is what is a family, right? And once we're able to identify that, then we're able to move forward with this show, right? This live. So I actually did some research. And what I want to do is, I'm a connoisseur of always breaking words down, right? We use a lot of words, and we need to know the definitions of them and the origins of them, so we know where these words are headed and where they're heading, right? So with that being said, I actually broke the word family down, right? The etymology, and I'm going to put it up here in a sec. Just give me one moment. Okay. And in the meantime, if you got anything you want to say, Danny, you could definitely pitch in real quick while I get this up here.
Oh yeah, definitely. See, that video was just a missile, and the video was actually from the 1986, and we're gonna get into a video that's even older. But there has been a black divestment, which is the topic of the show, where we're wondering, do you have black people, you know what I'm saying, giving up on other black folk? So let's get into it.
You see what's on my screen, bro?
Yeah, I can see what's on your screen.
Let's break it down. First of all, family, it's a noun, right? So early in the 15th century, the definition was servants of a household, right? And it says from Latin familia, family, servant, domestics collectively, the servants in the household. Thus also members of a household, the estate, property, the household, including relatives and servants, right? Abstract noun form. From familius, servant, slave, which is of unknown origin. And then it says the Latin word rarely appears in the sense parents with their children, for which domus, domestic, was used, right? Derivatives of familius, including famula, I can't even pronounce that word. Servant, woman, maid, famulanter,
Don't get me in line.
yeah, famulanter. I'm sounding out. In the manner of a servant, famulatus, servitude, familiaris, of one's household, private. For oh my goodness, for familiar curious, familiar, you know how to say that because I don't.
Man, don't get
Household
me in line.
slaves, familiaritas, close friendship. Oh my, the Latin is torture. But anyway, there's a couple things I want to point out, right? And the first thing I want to point out is servants of a household, right? This right here. Because we have to understand that to be a servant, you have to know how to serve, right? So that means
Right.
in this household, these different people or beings are servants to the household, which means they're servants to each other, right? So that means if you have a household that's a man, that's a woman, that's a child, they are all servants to each other in that household, right? That's what
Right.
makes it functional. That's what makes it one, you know? But I also want to point out this one right here, property, right? And the reason why I want to point that out is because we're to own the fact that we're a family, right?
Right.
Moving forward, we're to own that, like ownership, right? So with that being said, that paints a picture, right? When you have property, what do? You take care of it, right? You don't just leave it high and dry, and that's
Right.
for all parties, correct? So I just wanted to break that down before we get into the black family, because I wanted just to put out what the definition means. Because if we're, as black people, right, not upholding ourselves to even the definition of a family, we got some work to do, right?
Right.
Okay, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
My thoughts is that see, I do like I like definitions, and I like first and foremost that you get into the etymology of where these words are derived from. So that way we can give context to how they can actually be used and applied in its correct sense. So like you pointed out, the first thing was the servants of a household. You feel what I'm saying? And uh, the servants of a household, it takes right there. It's already dynamic. So basically, you got people that exist in a household, and there's more than, let me say, I guess at least three people. You're talking about at least three people, like a father, a mother, and a child. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the core unit of a household. So you know what I'm saying? And they take care of what's at home first. And then another word that stood out to me was private. You feel what I'm saying? The privacy of not being seen and not having all your business out there, you know what I'm saying, in the streets and for everybody to see. So it's conspicuous, you feel what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So that's basically what I was getting at. And also, like the video that we just watched, we could see that the family structure has deteriorated. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that the family structure has deteriorated in the sense that we don't operate in that manner or in that fashion. So we was looking at a video from 1986, and here we are in 2023. That's like almost 40 years or so. You know what I'm saying? Time passed, and you want to round up. So that is amazing that they was discussing this back then, and now we got to bring this to reality and bring this to fruition in 2023, because now we at a dire strait. where the family's just all over the place, and really people don't have no sense of family. We have no sense of neighbors, and that's why we have no sense of family, because the neighbors were essentially like family and stuff like that. So it just got all out of whack. But but I'll let you take the floor on that one.
So basically, what I want to do is I want to show statistics, right?
Right.
This facts over feelings. So let me just pop up my screen one more time, and I want to show you something that it stood out to me. Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so if you pay attention, right,
Right.
out of 100%, right, 100% is the whole band. 39%, and this is all black. This is all black people, black families, right? So 39% are married couples, and this is from Nish. This is from 2021, but this has been updated to this year too, meaning the numbers have not really changed, right, from this year in March. So 39% of black families are married couples, which honestly is more than what I thought personally. Female households, just the female, right? 31%. That's really high, right? That's almost up there with married couples. It says male household, only 5% of black males are households, just the male, right? Now
Right.
it says non-family households, right? 16%. And then you have the household type that cannot really be determined, whether that's like I guess a really mixed type of household of black families or whatever. Maybe uncle living with aunt or something like that, right? That's 9%, right?
Right.
Look at these statistics. Now tell me what stands out to you from just looking at the statistics.
That most households don't have married couples.
Boom. That's the first thing, and not just that is don't, but it's so low, right? We're here to elevate our people. We're here to raise these numbers, right? And most of all, look at these two. I wanted to compare and contrast the female and the male, right? Because we live in a very, very peculiar time, right? Where you have 31% of female households and you have 5% of male households, right? And this is for black families, right? So that means there clearly is not an understanding between the black male and the black female to why we cannot get to this married couple stage, right? When it comes to these statistics. So, with that being said, we have more work to do. But we just wanted to show you, show the viewing audience more or less that these numbers are real. And they ain't going nowhere. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, quick thing real fast. I wanted to let me see if I could share my screen here and do this. I want to share. Let me see if I can go to this. 1 second. I wanted to share Kiera quote because we got people that ask us opinions about this, and we talking about the family and roles and stuff like that. So we had Kiera actually ask us some questions here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and share this tab. Let me know when you can see this. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
All right, and we're gonna get better with this as time. We're gonna get better with this as time goes, of course, right? So, of course, Kiera, she said I could use her name and stuff like that. She brought up a quote. She asked both of us, you know what I'm saying? Do you guys think that this is factual? Okay, so someone posted, date a man who is a provider. That doesn't necessarily mean that he has a lot of money. It means he knows his responsibilities. He will make mountains move just so that your needs are met. Often women run after men with money. That doesn't necessarily mean that he handles his business.
Mm.
So she asked if we agreed or not, and as you can see on comments, we actually agreed. It's not for me. And I'll let you give your opinion too. I'll give an in-depth analysis, and I like when people share their opinions and stuff like that. And if you want your opinions heard, definitely you got to follow us. You have to ask us so we can comment on that later. But I will say this, that I know that it's natural for a woman to look for the best male suitor. So a lot of stuff that men believe about gold digging and stuff like that, I don't necessarily believe that. It's just that I believe that women don't necessarily know when to cash out. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like they're never satisfied. You think you can get a guy making 50, now you want the one to make 100, now you want the one to make 200, and then before you know it, you lose out on all of them because you're just trying to, what I'm saying, up the totem pole. It's a whole analogy about that. It's a husband store. It's too long to get into, but that's basically my sentiments and my thoughts on that. What about you?
It's wow. I mean, honestly, you're absolutely right, and I think that one of the key words in the statement that was being said from that post was provider, right? And what does that look like? What does that mean? I want to talk about it a little bit, but what I want to do first is I want to share my screen, and we're gonna break this word down too. We all about breaking these words down, right? And just let me know when you can see that too.
Yep.
All right, so provider, right? To provide, right? Providing. It's the
Right.
early 15th century. It says make provision for the future, arrange, plan, take care, relieve of what? Of
Needs.
needs. This is why
Mm-hmm.
we agree with that post, right? It says
Mm-hmm.
supply the needs of, from Latin providere, look ahead, prepare, supply, act with foresight, from pro, ahead, forward, ready to see, right? And I'm gonna leave it at that. But the point is, you want to understand that when people say men are to provide, that means we're to prepare, we're to supply, right? We're to relieve of needs, we're to take care, and we're to arrange. Now, I agree. I believe a part of the black family structure, a man has to provide, but a man has to be able to do it in a sense where when he's providing, he's getting support, right? And what I want to talk a little bit about that providing a little bit before I get into that support. But a man does not just provide financially. One thing about the post that I did agree with was, it is a duty for a man to provide, and you know that's beyond financial. But I just didn't think that it went in depth about how does that look, right? You have to
Right.
provide mentally, you have to
Right.
provide spiritually, you have to provide emotionally, right? All of these different things that's not talked about, and in our black, families, you know, whether it's trauma or whatever the case be, we don't necessarily think about these things instantly. We think about society's viewpoint of providing, which naturally looks like financial providing, right? We have to elevate that. How does a man provide mentally? And I'm asking you, Dan.
Um, Mentally, I would say that the man will have to be the logical one because we have to assess what we are naturally built for. So naturally, women are. So they say that emotions are stored on X chromosome. Women have two X chromosomes, men have one. So that means men have some emotion, but what I'm saying, you have an X and a Y chromosome. If your emotions and stuff are stored on X chromosome, there's only but so much emotion men can have. So that emotional support will be that man that's mentally stable enough to put all emotions aside, and just like the word provide says, make room for the future. You know what I'm saying? You're able to see past all of that stuff so that you can, create a future. So and it's tough too. It may sound easy, it may sound simple, but it may sound easy, but and simple, but it's just not. You know what I'm saying? It's simple, but it's not easy. You feel what I'm saying? The concept is simple, but actually doing it and applying it is two different things because you know what I'm saying? It's nothing like a man that's in his emotion. He's unstable. You know what I'm saying? If a man gets very emotional about something, it's unstable. It's volatile. It's just it's not. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be that reason, that voice of reason. You feel what I'm saying? That backbone, because they'll get like that and they'll get overwhelmed, but you can't be like that because if both of y'all like that, it's not gonna be
Chaos,
good. Yep.
destructive. And I agree with you when you say it's not easy. Like on paper, it sound right. What would you say? Would you say education or educating would enhance that provision that the man's supposed to supply, right? Mentally, would you say that educating yourself, and it doesn't mean necessarily going to school, but just in general, would you say that could be a tool to be used for the mental provision that a man's supposed to give?
Yeah, I would say education, but I would even go as far as to a show that we really gonna dive into later, having a code. So like, what I'm saying, like in certain households, what I'm saying, you just have to have certain plans. Like, when the kids go outside, they know certain things to do. You feel what I'm saying? They know like when street lights come on, you come in the house. You know what I'm saying? This is, I mean, whether you understand or not, this is what you have to do. You feel what I'm saying? And that is more so, I think, what we need as a foundation for anything, because that's how everything is made. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's uh, of value, you know what I'm saying, it's made based on certain fundamental principles that can't be changed, regardless of how you feel or how much you know. It doesn't matter. So education, yes, but more so a code, just a code of
Mm,
conduct, just what I'm saying, a simple code of conduct. As with any relationship, that's it's like a contract.
I like that, man. Especially because what it does is it's a foundational point. You always look back to it. You can strive forward, but if you strive too far forward, you know what I'm saying, you can at least turn back and look at your foundation, and be like, okay, I know not to do that no more, right?
Right.
So I agree with that, man. But that was like the main thing I wanted to talk about, was just understanding what it means to provide, not just from a societal viewpoint, but just from the actual word itself, and how we can enhance ourselves as men to at least be that part of the black structure that needs to be enhanced, right? So that was one thing. There was another one. So how could a person, and you can kind of break it up if you want to, or you can, group it together. But how can a man provide spiritually and physically, right?
Mm. So the physical is it's pretty self-explanatory to me. It's just tangible things, resources, especially including money. If not money, it be the best example, but it's not the only example of something physically tangible. Houses, property, businesses, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's all resourceful. It's just resources. Um, Spiritually, it goes along with that code as well too. So when you set a code, you know what I'm saying, as far as certain lines you will or won't cross. You know what I'm saying? That is a spiritual component of it. You know what I'm saying? Because now it takes the two of you to agree on that same concept. You know what I'm saying? So you'll walk that same path. So the spiritual kind of ties into the physical because they mirror each other. You know what I'm saying? Because the same contract, uh, it's just a code. You know what I'm saying? It's a code. It's the way. It's the way how you operate. You know what I'm saying? And there is, I would argue that the code is more spiritual than it is physical. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I would argue that the code is more spiritual than it is physical because at the same time, a lot of these codes and commitments and stuff, they are not written down. You know what I'm saying? They're just oral contracts most of the time, but they carry the same weight, if not more, than the physical. You know what I'm saying? Because like if somebody give you their word and they don't keep it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's the spiritual aspect of that, and of course, you know what I'm saying, religion comes into play. I hate to use the word religion, but religion because everybody got a religion, whether they know it or not. You feel what I'm saying? What you subscribe to, whatever, I guess, and is a religion. It just means a bondage to a yoking of you yoking yourself to something. But um, yeah, a religion plays a part. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things with spirituality, but spirituality for me is basically a walk. It's a walk, and it's not physical walk. It's more so like that journey that you have, those experiences over time that you have with people. It's a walk that you had with them. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Danny, for that breakdown too, man. Man, you
Yeah,
said
yeah.
something to me the other day, man. You was telling me how, like, you know, the black family, structure is similar to some things that we see in nature, man. Can you break that down?
Yeah. It's So one of the things, and we was discussing it, right, yo. We was talking about the doubt ideology, yo, and this where we got got that from. You feel what I'm saying? So like, in nature though, you know what I'm saying, natural with mammals, and I'm glad you brought that point up. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's a natural, social, societal structure amongst mammalian creatures and stuff like that that actually exists. You know what I'm saying? That we can actually take notes from. So basically, I believe in the Bible and stuff like that, right? So everybody don't believe in the Bible. So instead of like, what, tell somebody about the Bible, bring up scriptures or whatever, that there's somebody that don't read, that don't understand, that don't want to understand, whatever, doesn't make sense. When we can just physically observe nature, you feel what I'm saying? So when we observe nature and what happens in nature, then we can start to understand a lot more stuff too about spirituality as well. That's why I was telling you, the physical represents the spirituality. So basically, let's go here. Let me go ahead and share this video. Well, no, not a video. Excuse me. Let's share this tab. I was here with the mammal species, right? When we looking at mammal species, it's some things that, like I was saying, like we got to put our feelings to the side and actually discuss the facts. And these are facts. You feel what I'm saying? So look, mammals. Mammal is a vertebrate animal of the class of Mammalia, right? Um, 1 second, I did something. Click on something. Let's go back to the top. And then it says mammals are characterized by the presence of milk producing mammary glands for feeding their young, a neocortex region of the brain, fur or hair, and three middle ear bones. That's something that I learned through these studies because I never knew that mammals have uh, three middle ear bones. So that was something new that I learned. But it said these characteristics distinguish them from reptiles, birds, from which their ancestors diverged in the Carboniferous period over 300 million years ago. Around 6,400 species of mammals have been described and divided into 29 orders. All right, so let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Um, where were we getting at? Okay, here we go. Most mammals are intelligent, with some possessing large brains, self awareness, and tool use. Mammals can communicate and vocalize in several ways, including production of ultrasound, scent marking. Uh, I think I just clicked on that by accident. Scent marking, alarm signals, singing, echolocation, and in the case of humans, complex language. Mammals can organize themselves into fission fusion societies. Let's see what that is. In ethology, a fission fusion society is in which one in which the size and composition of the social group change as time passes and animals move throughout the environment. Animals merge into one group, fusion, sleeping in one place, or split, fishing, foraging in small groups during the day. So that sounds like pigs or something like that. But harems and hierarchies, but can be solitary and territorial. Most mammals are polygynous, but some can be monogamous and polyandrous. That's another thing. So, as much as people would say that most mammals are monogamous and all this stuff, that's actually not true. Only 5%, 10% of animals are monogamous. Most animals are polygyny, but some animals are polyandry, hyenas, elephants, and all of that stuff in nature. So, um, that's just the natural order of things. You feel what I'm saying? So, with that being said, when we look at mammals, basically what describes a mammal is being able to having a vertebrae, the presence of milk producing and mammary glands, and that's basically it. So when we look at the mammal species and stuff like that in nature, like bears, right? We're talking about the doubt ideology. The doubt ideology. When we're looking at bears, right? You got what, polar bears, brown bears, and black bears.
Grizzly bears, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so like when they're in the wild and they're on their own, naturally, even though they're all bears, they don't all, you know what I'm saying, they don't all mess with each other or, you know what I'm saying, reproduce with each other. There are instances where you have polar bears and grizzly bear hybrids and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's very uncommon. So for people to say, you know what I'm saying, that, well, I would just say that, you know what I'm saying, the doubt ideology is unnatural when you go outside of your own species, especially your own race or whatever. In case of bears, to reproduce, that is far more uncommon than someone trying to sustain their own race or ethnicity or species. In the case of the wild, what you think?
So you said a lot of points that I definitely agree with, and one thing that stood out to me, especially with the bears, was just that these bears stick to the same exact type of bears, also due to the region they're in, right? So when you have, even if
Mm-hmm.
you have polar bears and grizzly bears come together, like you said before, most likely they're not going to intermingle. Why is that? Because they have actually a different genetic build. So you
Right.
have polar bears who what? Their bodies are used to the cold. But then you might have a grizzly bear that might be, in the middle of the, world that is used to both, a little bit of cold, a little bit of hot, warmer temperatures. And now their genetic makeup, if they come together, it scrambles, right? There's a lot of things that new breed of bear coming in won't have, understanding of naturally at that
Mm-hmm.
point. You see what I'm saying? It's a natural thing. So, because this is the point that I know we're gonna get to, but when it comes to the black family structure, one thing that we are advocates of is staying in house, right? We're not afraid to admit that or say that. So there's a lot of reasons why. Because let's give an example in human form, right? If you have and I'm just gonna give an example. If you have a black man, let's say a white woman, they have a child. The child is mixed, right?
Right.
So now this child has, on his dad's side, black family members. On his mom's side, he has white family members, right?
Right.
And one thing that white woman can never teach, let's say it's a boy, but that white woman can never teach her son is what a mother looks like in a black family household, or what historically or culturally a black mother looks like, or what she would do, or what she would teach. Right at that point, he's actually losing his inheritance. See,
Right.
that's a whole nother form, right? But he's losing his inheritance, and maybe he can gain it from his aunt, his grandmother, right? But at the same time, we know it's a duty of what, of parents to teach their kids. So at that point, that kid is losing out on pieces of something that's historically supposed to be given to him, right? If you looked at what the origin of family was earlier, it said what, property. So now he has to what? Now he's owning his white heritage. Now he's owning his black heritage, but that means he's stuck in the middle technically, right?
Right.
And that
Right.
means he's not receiving the fullness of it. Because at the end of the day, like I said, servants of a household. How
Hey,
can
yo,
you
let's
serve me?
let's get to the real, because for real, um, it's a lot of debate and people be scared about talking about interracial relationships and stuff like that because they scared to step on toes. Ain't nobody saying, you know what I'm saying, that we condemning you for doing it or you're not.
No, 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 not at all. We just trying to empower, our people to stay within the family structure, because our black family structure has been destroyed and depleted.
Right. But and there's so much stuff because like we were talking about too when we had this conversation personally. You feel what I'm saying? You got like the passport bros too, right? So
Hmm.
now the passport
Hey, you got
bros.
to break that down, yo, for the viewing audience.
Okay, yeah, let's break it down. So look, the passport bros, right? They are a group of men who had passports who go outside the country to seek women for companionship and wives, especially women other than black women. Um, and this is what we're talking about too with the black divestment. Like a lot of these people have divested from the community, and see what we want to establish is that's not us. You know what I'm saying? We date black women, we love black women, and all of that stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Although we make complaints, you feel what I'm saying? That's another thing too. Like I was saying too, like I went and said this, so I guess I'll say it on air too. You know what I'm saying? Even though I complain about black women, you feel what I'm saying? I still love them. I only date black women. I only have dealt with them exclusively. But I think I have the right to complain. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a consumer of black women. I can see if maybe I like white women and all that stuff, and that's how people feel. You know what I'm saying? When these black men they get white women and they start talking about black women like, yo, you look crazy. You feel what I'm saying? With a woman other than black, and then you're gonna sit there and talk about black women. No, that looks crazy. But somebody who deal with
I
black
wouldn't say
women,
look, it's disrespectful, and I can
yeah, it
explain why
is.
it's disrespectful. But yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely seen as insulting, disrespectful, degrading, condescending, and really divesting at its core. Um, Let me pull up this real fast. Go ahead, say what you're gonna say. Let me pull up this real
Mm.
fast.
I mean, the main thing that I was gonna say is just we understand that because of the lack of of a union between the black man and the black woman, there has been some issues in the black family structure where you have a lot of these. Because you gotta think about it, man. Everything we talking about is social issues. You know what I'm saying? And these are social issues that have been plotted on before we were born, right? We're just living in this time period, seeing the outcome of it, and seeing it digress more and more, and seeing a lot of things within our community, especially the family structure, be whitewashed.
Right.
And it's like he said before, like Danny said before, we're not condemning those that date outside of our people. We're just trying to show the statistics and show not even just show, but just encourage the unification of our people in the structure, because you got to think about it like this, and this is just a reality check, more or less a practical check. You know, if the black structure wasn't a powerful structure, then why has it been targeted for so long, right? And that's a question that someone should ponder on, right? If they're not in that realm, start thinking about that. Why is the black family structure so targeted, right?
All right. So look, let me see if I can say this. Let me see. Let me see. Let me share this really quickly. Now look, I'm using Urban Dictionary, and that don't mean that I'm using. We talking facts here over feelings. And yes, I'm about to use Urban Dictionary for this. Now watch this. You can see the screen, right?
Right. Like I said.
So it says a divester, someone who dates outside their race because they think that their race is that race is better or superior than their own.
Ooh,
The
ooh,
example that they gave is
ooh.
the black man. That black man is being a divester. He said he's with that Asian woman because she's better than black women. And see,
Hey.
that's the connotation. That's what they give off. That's what people feel like, and that's why I use the Urban Dictionary and not the real dictionary, because this is what people feel like when you do stuff like that. When you with somebody else outside of your race, and then you go ahead and bash somebody your own race, it makes you look silly as I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? It makes you look like a traitor, like it's treasonous and stuff like that. But I do believe that those who do consume products have the right to complain. So if I do complain about black women and I know they don't like it, at least I'm a consumer of the product. I have a right to complain. But I can see somebody don't purchase it and don't ascribe to it. Like, how much complaints can you have? It's not to say that you can't have any, but I mean, to a certain point, it's going to look bad. You feel what I'm saying? When you try to be that way, and so it makes your word, I guess, less valuable to people. It makes your word less valuable to people when you approach it that way. You feel what I'm saying? And that's just the truth of the matter. You feel me? With all feelings aside and all facts, that's how people feel when you have a woman of another culture, but you choose to put your own culture down, especially in the black community. And that's the whole doubt ideology, that you think that this race of women is better. And I mean, I see it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Black men want to say or white women are better and all that stuff, and then they get killed by a white woman when she's scanning out a bunch of money or whatever due to divorce. It's the same stuff or even worse. You know what I'm saying? Thinking the grass is greener on the other side. You feel what I'm saying? You thinking, but you don't know these races of people. You don't know their culture. You don't know how to get down. You just don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the vibe that they give off. Is just that these women are better than our women. You feel what I'm saying?
But
So
this is the thing, though. Everything is in house, man. So look, me and Danny, we are servants of our households, you know, and we look at our community as our household. So by us coming on this platform and even discussing this topic is because we care, we love our people, and we want to see better for our people. So with that being said, one thing I want to point out is just that, you know, you see a lot of men be, you know, who might date outside their race, quote unquote, right? And they're called divestors, like we just looked up the definition. And a lot of things that I personally have heard is, like you said, oh, well, you know, the white woman, you know, she's more subservient. You know, black women want to complain and fuss all day, this and the third. And it's just like this. Okay, look, these may be things that might have happened to you. But have you ever thought about the fact that a black woman has a natural, we talked about the grizzly bear, right, and the polar bear, a natural understanding of a black man's struggle more than any other race, because she is still a black woman who what came out of a black man. And I think a lot of people don't think about that factor regardless, right? And in reality, I put it back on us as accountability, like we talked about the providing. We're to provide our women what a black man is supposed to be. That way our women can follow suit and understand what they're to be, right?
right.
It's just the honest truth. You know, I
But see,
view it.
the thing about that too is I think that a lot of our women see provision, especially with the rise in social media and entertainment and stuff like that. I think that they see the lifestyle with the Birkin bags and the Range Rovers and the trips to Dubai, and they think that that's for everybody. Like, it's a problem with just, you know what I'm saying, getting by life and we just living life together, you know what I'm saying? Like normal
It
human
is.
beings.
It's not normal.
So,
No, you know, it's not normal. I think you said it the other day when we were talking about how, you know, these concepts. You know, a lot of things have been materialized, and we have to sit back and understand that beyond materials, what do a person offer, right? And that's
right,
what I'm talking about when I say providing. What can I offer you? You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, you're a
right,
believer, I'm a believer, right? So if we going into an event and I say, hey, let's pray together, I'm offering you some type of spiritual comfort to let you know that beyond myself, you know what I'm saying, I'm willing to extend myself to practice something that we probably both share, and let you know that I'm not ashamed or afraid to do so beyond my physical money in my pockets, right?
right,
And this is what I think needs to be seen more and more from our women, because like you said, social media is it's a beast, man. And what it does is it can distract, you know, the mind from what's really, really valuable and most important. So we have to set that tone. Think about it. If all black men just got off of social media, you think it's really still gonna be popping the way it is?
no, not at all.
And that's called discipline. I'm not saying that we'll ever do it, right? But just think about that. Think about what picture that paints for women too, especially our women.
Well, see, that's because, and man, this is what we talk about, the realness of everything. So as much as, you know what I'm saying, our women, especially our black women, would like to think that, you know what I'm saying, they would like to not be seen as more than anything other than sex objects. That's the only type of roles that they have been taking. That's the only type of things that we see. You know what I'm saying? All the twerking, all the raunchy dressing, all the thoughtness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, what's the difference between the hoe and the housewife?
The
And that's
difference, structure. I would say structure.
no, they look the same. Is what I'm saying.
What
They
you
look
mean?
the same.
Break that down. Break that down.
A lot of the women in our generation look the same.
In this
They,
generation, as a generalization,
you talking about
yes, under generalization, yeah. I
you
see what
talking
you're saying.
about yeah, and I said a lot. I didn't say all. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Of course, it's not
Well, you
all.
ain't say yeah, but I said you ain't say all of them. So
Of course,
I can agree.
I'm not gonna say all either, because it's definitely not all. But I'm talking about
Majority.
the vast majority of them. The vast majority of them. I mean, what you see on social media You know, it's just revealing pictures. You know what I'm saying? The stuff is all out. So
But
why?
you just seen it earlier. The
I mean,
definition said a household, a family supposed to be what, private, right?
right. So I mean, like, see, look, if that's your prerogative, that's your prerogative. You feel what I'm saying? But it's just like the response that you're getting. You feel what I'm saying? Why would you be upset about that when that's the way that you portray yourself? You feel what I'm saying? If I'm out here acting like a farmer, why would I be trying to be treated like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or something like that? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? You a mechanic. You want to be treated like a pilot. You feel what I'm saying? It don't make sense. It's two different jobs, two different fields. You know what I'm saying? You don't treat a civilian like a cop, and you don't treat a cop like a soldier. So you know what I'm saying?
But maybe hold up. Maybe the problem is most don't identify what their structure looks like, or what the structure of a black family looks like historically. Maybe they don't identify with it. Maybe this is where the miseducation is coming in. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing things out there.
My solution, and it's a simple solution for real. My thing would be to get with somebody that has a plan and help build, just like the original intent was for man and woman. The thing is that we have a lot of women just waiting at the finish line, and they just picking from the winners, and the pickings is slim. You feel what I'm saying? That's why they saying it ain't no men out here, because the pickings is slim, because the ones that you want, they already taken. I believe the statistics are, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 70% of successful men are married. So that number jumps up when a person has more money. And then also, contrary to popular belief, the more money a black man has, the more race loyal he tends to be. But there's actually no one more race loyal than a black woman. A lot of them tend to not date outside of their race. It's like 85% of black men that stay inside their race, and black women it's like 90, 93, 95%. So almost all of them date exclusively black. But
it looked like deep down, for the most part, and I'm speaking on behalf of a nice percentage, we want each other, right? And the question is, what are we willing to do to strengthen this family structure? And that's my question to anyone out there, the viewing audience. What are you willing to do to strengthen your family, your black family structure?
mm-hmm.
You know, let me rephrase that. Your natural family structure. What are you willing to do, right?
So during this laugh hat, because we coming up on time, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I wanted to shout out to the brother Hezekiah News. I think he got Baltimore Times. He provided both of the videos that we're gonna play in the segment. I'm gonna go ahead and play this one. We just react to it. I got some points I wanted to highlight and stop at, and we'll just react to them accordingly. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull this video up really quickly and at the screen. You see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's do it. You know what? That's the wrong one. Let's do this one. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right.
The feeling of racial pride is not new for many African Americans, but the resurgence of black awareness and pride, black men and women face new problems, not only in relation to white society, but to each other in a black society. Recently, there has been a stream of articles on this subject, and the Chicago Daily Defender, America's largest black newspaper, began a series some weeks ago on the emergence of the new black woman. Betty Washington, reporter for the paper, surveyed the Chicago scene to report on how black men and women believe the revolution in racial pride will affect them and their families, before the sociologists and experts tell us how we are supposed to react.
As a reporter for the Chicago Daily Defender, and as a black woman married to a black man, I become deeply aware of the effects of this new black revolution on the relationship between black man and black woman. I see it among my own friends, and I also see it in my home. But the most revealing and the most vocal statements about what the new black man expects from the new black woman came when I met with a group of young unmarried friends one Saturday afternoon.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men and black women is concerned is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No. But our black women who has been put in this role of aiding white America, white structure, and castrating the black male has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say...
Okay.
He's speaking facts, though. I mean, he's not lying. He's not lying. But you know what's funny, though?
What's
when
that?
when you pay attention, yo, like, I hate to say it, but she was very defensive when he said what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not even realizing what he's saying is, look, sister, we can live with y'all, but based upon the influence of society, y'all don't want to live with us no more. Based upon y'all getting these opportunities to have jobs like ourselves, y'all don't want to really be with us no more. You know, and he was not lying. And her first reaction was,
Yeah, see, I'm trying to skip it, pause it right there so it wouldn't get too far into that because I wanted to deal with what he was saying with for face value at first and then continue on in the conversation. So, I mean, he was basically saying that, you know what I'm saying, that the black man is working and all that stuff. It just seems like the black women had used the government's aid to bounce them out of their role, and now they find themselves fighting not only the system but fighting the women, but the women are also victims of that same system because they set them up to be in that position to where so you got to choose between the government or the man, and that's facts.
That's super facts. And this is back in the day.
Yeah, this is 1968. 1968. Let's go.
Say that...
Take it back a little bit.
Like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
We're not asking for you to take a back seat.
That's what you
We're
said.
saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing, this is the thing that the young black man today is not going to tolerate. My old man tolerated it because his old man tolerated it. It came up for years and years and years. But today, the young black man is not going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader.
White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding them by saying, well, we are qualified, we want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are
So we literally just touched on that. Yeah. And so the crazy thing is, and the most devastating thing too at the same time is that, you know, this is 1968. You know what I'm saying? This is 19.
Hey, at least they having a conversation about it at a pleasant level, because in our day and age, we took this same exact convo and elevated it into almost like hatred.
This was almost 60 years ago, 55 years ago, right?
And we're still dealing with the same thing.
Right, and you remember the video that we showed earlier that video that we showed earlier to the intro to the show, where the guy was talking about it's not even two generations, but in one generation, basically, the black family was almost all the way vanished. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was 1986. It's crazy because it's 1968, man. 1986, the 8 and 6 flop, whatever. But it's just so long ago that it's crazy. And also too, I wanted to definitely mention again, like this came from Hezekiah News for real. We're definitely like people to go over there. You know what I'm saying? Check them out. We appreciate this content. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And we think I think he definitely got Baltimore ties. Baltimore got rich history, especially as it pertains to the United States with the Star Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key, and everything else like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like rich history. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Hezekiah News once again. This Facts Over Feelings too. So hit that subscribe, hit that share, hit that like. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna drop more content for you. But yeah, like he was saying though, he said that basically the government set them up in that position. And if you can hear his argument, he was basically saying that the government set them up in that position. And she was arguing, she was saying, well, do you think that we shouldn't work, we shouldn't be creative, we shouldn't be productive? It's not what he was saying. That's not what he was saying. He was just saying that when they get into that position, it always threatens their position. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what it really is, what he's saying? He's saying that y'all have developed an unnatural mindset by the influence of society. That's what he's saying. He's saying that the mindset that y'all are developing because of the assistance from the government, this has tampered with our black family structure.
Right.
And that's what he's saying.
And it's unhealthy. You feel what I'm saying? That's a perfect way to put it. Let's keep going.
How are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility?
Let's take that back a little bit. Yeah.
Take it. He's gonna be out there as a leader.
White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding him by saying, well, we are qualified, we want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we're gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you and love me on the basis of that. You want to always be aspiring to have all those things that's a part of the great middle class white American society, and because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
Bro, they just be hitting so many points, man. It'd be so crazy to talk. Bro, if we could just play that one more time.
Play one more time, yeah.
One more time. Let me see. We at let's go to 2. All right, that's right there.
We can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility?
Right there. You feel what I'm saying? How are we gonna reprogram men so that they don't let us take advantage of them? Basically, is what she's saying. Us meaning them.
So all right, let's speak the facts, right? Over these feelings, period. So he just said before that the men are still willing to do what the men need to do for the women. It's the women who have been systematically, mentally challenged and changing with what's being presented. So even if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, like how you said earlier, we could be doing what we want to, supposed to be actually doing. He's saying it's not enough for y'all no more, based upon the influences of society.
And he was saying what I was saying too as well. He was saying that they basically don't want to live at the means where that they can provide. But my thing was too that she was talking about how a man gonna forcefully do this. And see, this is another issue that I be having. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of women talking about, you know what I'm saying, men got toxic masculinity, which we already covered the show on that toxic masculinity. But then at the same time, you're gonna talk about forcing you to do something. Like, what are you talking about? That sounds like toxic femininity.
That sounds like I hate to
you
say,
about to go to jail, my nigga.
Yes, because that's what I was thinking. It sounds like an emotional response to unsatisfaction. That's just what it sounds like to me. An emotional response to being unsatisfied. But why are you unsatisfied? Where does your satisfaction truly come from?
And I mean, and this, all right, come on.
See what I'm saying? Like,
man, this, I don't know if it's satisfaction. I think the satisfaction comes from the dysfunction, and that's troubling. That's troubling.
We already know, man. Anything that is coded or that have a code has functionality to it, no matter how it looks. You can go ahead though, bro.
All right, look.
Responsibility. And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think.
Hold on, let's take that back a little bit.
You're going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility. And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we gonna get, and it's part of our being.
Is that true or no? Was she just talking out the side of her neck? Because what was that?
No, I believe she was saying something true from her standpoint as a woman. And you know, I'm sure you have your experiences. I've had my experiences. I'm sure even the viewing audiences, any of the males out there had their experiences.
Right.
But this is the problem. The problem is who set the standard to say that's acceptable?
Well, it's supposed to be
you see
the most high.
Like,
then it's supposed to be man.
Right.
Then it's supposed
woman,
to be
then child.
Right.
But I'm saying, who set the example for that statement to be acceptable? Who said this is a look? I'm about to go there. This is a righteous statement, and I'm gonna stand by this because this is true. And you see what I'm saying? Who qualified that? And that's my question, because I just believe people be coming up with their own analogies, and this is
no. See now, look, we can get into it. So now this is this report was done in 1968, right?
Right.
So, like I said, this was what is that? 55 years ago. 55 years ago, right?
So, we're gonna say 50 plus.
All right. So I don't know what year. I mean, excuse me, not what year. What month this came out? But in 1968, we all know about Martin Luther King, and he was assassinated on April the 4th, 1968. Right. This was the same time. So at this same time, what was going on is that they had this feminism wave that was going on. And then you can see it came with the no-fault divorce in 1975 and stuff like that. People got to do their due diligence on the research and stuff. This is when the second wave feminist wave hit hard, because civil rights was still going on at the time. And so as a distraction from civil rights, they indoctrinated black women with this feminist movement thing to as a what do you call it, to supplant the civil rights agenda, which wind up happening after Martin Luther King, after Malcolm. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Those was your major leaders, and the government put their head on a stake for you. You know what I'm saying? On a pole for you, and let you look at them. These your leaders. This your king. They held their heads up like that. That's your king. And then they went with that feminism stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that's where that ideology came from. So if you asking who sanctioned that, white women sanctioned it, and black women accepted the ideology.
They adopted it.
Along with the benefits that came with it, with the welfare and everything else.
And the bottom truth is, you know, man, one thing I gonna say I love and hate, but one thing that well, I will say I love and hate about our people. Yo, we go over the top with everything we are committed to. Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes that can be a bad thing. And in this case, it ain't the best, man.
Let's go ahead and play some more.
We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you and love me on the basis of that. You want to always be aspiring to have all those things that's a part of the great middle class white American society, and because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
And that's what I was talking about with the whole Birkin bags and all that stuff. And he hit the nail right on it. He hit the nail right on the head when he was talking about they see the middle class white people. They see that was the image that was given to us. You know what I'm saying? Where you can have the white picket fences, the American dream, and all that stuff. That was the image that was given to us. And so, growing up, because black people ain't had nothing, you see these white people on TV, like I said, entertainment magazines and all that stuff, and you seeing them in this capacity. You know what I'm saying? It makes you want that because you think the grass is green on the other side, even though it probably is better being rich than it is being broke. But they both come with their own set of problems. You feel what I'm saying?
They do.
And that's what he was saying.
But the point is, he's think about it from this perspective too. He's basically also saying, y'all, you want to separate from us, while we just want to be together with y'all. It doesn't matter what condition we come to you with, poor, rich, whatever. We supposed to be together, and that's what he's basically also saying.
Right.
I don't measure a man by how much money he can bring home. I measure a man by how he treats me. Whether when I'm tired and I'm sick and I'm scared, he's there.
For these women, the men are there.
Oh, we gotta adjust that. So in her defense, she says she doesn't judge a man by his income. She judges him by how he treats her.
Basically, acts toward her. Acts toward her. And clearly that's all she said, but we know that it should just be actions in general, not
Right.
just to that person, because how that person acts in general plays a part in everything. It plays a part in characteristics of the child you might have by that man. You see what I'm saying? All those different things. So at that time, I'm gonna be honest, it just seemed like, at least from this person that was on that video, it just seemed like she's coming from an emotional response of how she wanted her feelings to be satisfied at all times. And we know relationships, and we didn't even go into detail about that this time, but relationships are not the focal point of a relationship, or the priority of a relationship is not about feelings. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people understand it's about commitment. You know what I'm saying? It's about accountability. It's about elevation. So
it's actually about regardless of how you feel. To be honest,
that's a real relationship for real. So interesting.
But with the feeling of racial pride has come new conflicts and new problems. Across America, they meet to discuss what Black awareness means to their families and to them as Black women of today.
There have been a lot of myths created about the Black family. We all recognize that. And one of the most pernicious myths is the myth of the Black matriarch, and this whole concept. And I think this is one of the reasons that the Black community reacted so negatively to the Moynihan report, because we know that that's not true.
It was not like
the Black woman has not been a matriarch in the sense that it has been defined thus far. And thank God research, and I hope Black research, is being done now to reverse that kind of thing. In fact, the Black woman has been a woman at the head of a household, not by choice, but by necessity. And more often, that's right, and more often than not, she is not a strong, matriarchal, aggressive, domineering figure. She is a woman in search of a man. But this story has not been told.
the prejudiced society.
She said the story ain't been told though. But there's yet still a few points where I just heavily disagree. I'm inclined to believe that a lot of women do just say what's politically correct because they just say one thing and they act a different way. Like your actions just totally don't match up to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? You say you like a good man, but it's not what you choose. Don't make sense. You like then there's good fathers and all that stuff. Where the kids' fathers at? I don't know. Anyway, she was saying that she didn't believe in the matriarchy and all that stuff. Which at that time, most of the households probably, most of the kids in Black households probably still at that point in time were growing up in two-parent households. I know this is 3 years after 1965, which in 1965 that was a census that said about 85% of black children grew up in two-parent households in 1965. So in 3 years, remember that God did say too earlier in that opening segment that the black family almost vanished within one generation. So that would most definitely fit into that time frame from 1968 to 1986. Um, that whole thing. So, and she said she would love to have the black statistics. Well, the statistics is out. If she's still alive in 2023, you better look at them and look at how many children are out here in single parent households and it's ran by their mom. That's a matriarchy. Oh, we just read the facts. Only 5% of households are raised by single men. 5%. So that's a matriarchy if I ever seen one.
Very much so. Man.
Let's continue.
Prejudiced society created what we have now. So that's what we were. Okay, we have a revolution going on. Well, what part of the revolution?
We're in an evolution. I think the revolution is yet to come.
Yeah,
it's the
well, this thing
we
will
keep
say.
tossing the word revolution around lightly. Everybody.
Actress Val Ward performs the works of our black poets and dramatists. For her, black awareness is not revolutionary, but the very foundation of her marriage. Val's husband, Francis Ward, talks of the struggles of the black family in the past and the obstacles that lie ahead.
It's extremely important for black history and culture to be transmitted from generation to generation. And the best way, the most effective way that this has always been done is through the family, acting as the primary unit of social organization. And I think one reason why it has not been done with black people is because of the destruction done to our family life. So this certainly has to be one function of the black marriage, to begin to reemphasize and to pick up the thread of Afro-American history and culture that has been left off generations ago when Africans were sold into slavery, when the family unit was purposely destroyed. Part of the obligation of being black is to make absolutely certain that whoever has any kind of control or jurisdiction over your kid, is not bringing him into conflict with the kinds of things we teach. We try to instill in them here in the home.
Did you hear that?
Hey, man, I don't usually put biblical quotes out there on live, but it just reminds me of that whole Hosea 4:6. It says my people
are destroyed
because of lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not lying, and that's just what it reminded me of, because at the end of the day, like I said before, when you look at the etymology of family, we are servants to the household, right? And to serve means to give, right? But to give means you have to have something to give. So if you're not obtaining anything from your parents, the history, the knowledge, the understanding, the old, like you always tell me about some of them old school quotes, if you're not gaining those things, you're not passing them down, they become devalued. And then what? Other things that have gravitated your attention will become a value to you personally, because you're not gaining the things that you're supposed to, that will actually probably keep you grounded in a code.
Yeah, and another thing that stood out to me too, what I heard him say was that basically we needed family for the sole purpose of teaching our children and censoring what's being taught to our children, because basically we know what slavery and all that stuff has done to the black family. So in order to keep some things sacred, in order to keep some things holy, in order to keep some things without spot and blemish, it has to be taught in house. You can't expect it to be taught by white people and the government and stuff like that, we couldn't expect that to be taught by them. So, and that makes absolute sense. You know what I'm saying? And so now family not only provides structure, but as you were saying, it provides education. It provides education and knowledge of your ancestry, your history, where you came from, where you're going, and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why family is important. Let's go.
Most middle class homes, quote middle class homes, like I don't even get caught up in that bag, you go into will have some copy of anybody, any white artist, I don't even have to name anybody, instead of the works of black artists. I think it starts, especially that identity part, the books, the kinds of books. All of these things start in the home rather than complaining about them being in the schools at this point.
Unless we're absolutely certain of how that teacher is handling them, then we may have to assume that whole responsibility. We may have to pull them out of school ourselves, and do all the educating ourselves.
Say, for instance, when they say to my child to draw, last year Rhonda painted Abraham Lincoln brown and she was put in the corner, We had to go up to the school and deal with that. They must be respectable to their peers in school. And what we do, we handle that. We don't say, you jump up, you curse that teacher out, or you say it doesn't exist. But they see us at that school knocking on the door. You have to be in there. Either we're going to control, their minds here, or at least give them the choice.
Again, so they were talking about exactly what I was saying as far as like the educational standpoint, and the reason why family is important, because when they go to school and all that stuff, they being taught things by them. Like she said, they one of her daughters or whoever drew a picture of Abraham Lincoln and they colored him brown, and the teachers put him in a corner and stuff like that. Stuff like that is why. Stuff like that is exactly why we need family. And we need structure.
Yeah, just like I'm using an example where everybody know it, but just like even like the Christopher Columbus, like how he's painted as a hero, you know what I'm saying? And in reality,
he's worse than Hitler.
Yeah, he wasn't. So it's just like when you rely on information solely from people outside of your people, right? Then you are becoming naive, oblivious, and like I said before, there's a piece of the rich history that probably you are supposed to inherit that you're not receiving. It's a sad thing when you really think about. I mean, really, this is a sad topic. Let's keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things where it's like, we have to have more awareness, but not just awareness, man. We have to live by some type of code of conduct for our people. You know what I'm saying? For ourselves first, right? But our people have to have some type of code and truly live by it. And guess what? Hold each other accountable for it. And that's the thing. We're all over the place.
Also, another thing I wanted to hit on briefly was that she basically mentioned this thing that I just saw a lady do on the TED Talks. Her name is Jolene Agnew, right? And she had I hope I'm saying her name right, Jolene Agnew. She had a brilliant TED Talk, and she was talking about Black people and trauma responses. So a lot of things that we do as Black people, you know what I'm saying, is out of a trauma response. And the thing about trauma responses is that it's only supposed to be a temporary thing. For instance, like if a bear was chasing you and you had to get away from the bear, your body would and it will release certain chemicals and hormones or whatever to help you, give you that boost and that energy to survive. It's a survival instinct. But Black people are always in a state of survival. So like she was saying, with the schools and all stuff, they got to monitor the teachers. They got to make sure what they teaching them is on point. And if they teach them something, they don't disagree with the teacher. They just kindly correct their child and, tell their child the truth and stuff like that. But Black people are always operating out of a trauma response, and we never leave that state. And so remember, I was telling you that, that's supposed to be a temporary thing. But we actually never leave that state. of a trauma response, even from code switching. So when we go to school and go to jobs and stuff like that, and we can't talk like how we talk regularly because it's a trauma response, because we know that we might not get the job, we might be seen as inferior, or might be stereotyped and stuff like that if we were to talk like how we regularly talk and stuff like that. So it's different. So everything that we do is out of a trauma response, so we have to remember that. And that was very interesting that they were mentioning that, and mentioning the schooling and black figures and cartoons and stuff like that. Back then that was an issue, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying, because they only seen like white people and stuff like that, and the white picket fences and American Dream, they only seen like really like white people like that. And so that is that plays a part in why we act the way we act too as a society as well. But I'm getting ready to go ahead and continue.
A lot of this is new to us, and a lot of these things we're grappling with, and we don't want to give anybody the impression that we have the answer to everything.
Not only that, though, let me cut you
I
off
know.
again. People go around talking about hate. We really don't have time to hate, because, it goose up the bag. We're loving ourselves. This might bring around a lot of other different things.
To be black means to love. It's got nothing to do with having to hate anybody.
It does determine, though, Francis, and has nothing to do with hate. Again, it's love. That we might have to do certain things to protect that love.
It may bring us into conflict with somebody.
Anything necessary to protect that love.
Finally, I asked Francis about the standards of today's black man as compared with those of 20 years ago.
Standards which white society had projected. I think these standards were that he had to become successful according to the white mode. He had to get a good job, he had to buy a good car, he had to move to the suburbs, he had to rear a good family that went to church every Sunday, that did everything that the typical good American family was supposed to do. And I don't think the black man necessarily is addicted to that notion. I think he sees the falsity of it. I think he sees the total hypocrisy of it. I think he wants to rear a tightly knit family, but not for the purposes that white society says. He doesn't want to rear a family for any sham purposes, just to fulfill some false ethic. But he wants to rear a good family in order to have his children strong, reared in his own image perhaps, and to transmit, most importantly, to transmit the values which he is learning to his children, and to try to ensure as best he can that his children will transmit those same values to their children, and have the same transmission repeated from generation to generation.
So that's just like I was saying earlier. That's what the family is important for. He's talking about preserving from generation to generation. But the first thing that I wanted to hit on was, they were saying what has changed from the black man 20 years ago, which was what, in the 40s, in the 30s or 40s at that time. You know what I'm saying? He was saying that what was different was that the black man was expected to have a good job, a house in the suburbs, and do all of that stuff, keep up with the status quo, that dream, just like I was just telling you. And that's what's killing us. We keep seeing these people on TV, and the thing about these people that's on TV and all this stuff, they keep trying to imitate the people in real life, number one. And then number two, they only show you how the 1% live. Everybody don't live like that. Everybody can't just go and travel and come and go as they please out in and out the country and all of that stuff. Most people are not able to do that.
No.
At all. But that's all they show you up there, is the 1% of people, and they show you in a way to make you think like this is common, when it's not common. It's actually far from common. It's like the top 10%, 5%, something like that.
Yeah, I look at it as a distraction to a point. Like, vacating, cool, right? But when you make it a high priority to continuously do those things, I look at it like, okay, we're all entitled to whatever, way you want to spend your money, right? But I look at it like this, when you actually look up the word divestment, in the English, right? It means to pour out into another business, pour it out or invest into something else that's not of you. So with that being said, how are we investing in our black family structure when we're quitting or becoming doubtful, aka the doubt ideology, creeping in, and we're straying away from that structure. I don't even think the average black person realizes that they're straight, that they have traits that stray away from the black family structure. I think that's also inherited. The fact that, at least in our generation now, because we have been exposed to so much due to technology, we don't even realize the conditioning that we have on ourselves that deteriorate the black family structure. We come up with memes and quotes, like you said earlier, toxic masculinity and all these different terminologies to try to downplay, different gender roles or whatever you want to call it, right? And don't even realize that the bigger picture is, look, I'm supposed to transmit what was transmitted to me to you clearly in a mode of elevation, but it's still supposed to be passed, right? And it's not being passed no more.
Right.
It's just not. I see, some people might say, oh, the old, what I'm saying, they stuck in their ways. And the old might be like, oh, the young, they don't listen. To me, after a while, that's an excuse, yo.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. That's all it is. I get it. Majority is, might not hear. I've heard that before. I get all of that. But the point is, you're not to give up. You're not to quit. Long as you're breathing, you're not supposed to, quit and give up. Especially on those that you come from, what I'm saying, in that matter. So we have to have a better job of transmitting this information. And even if you do have to break things down to a very small or lower level, what I'm saying, it's still a start. It's still a foundational piece. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all I really had to say on that part, bro.
All right, I'm gonna get ready to play this video out. We running out of time.
All right.
Listen to me. I am a woman. Black, that is. And there is but one thing which brings tears to my eyes. And that is to hear man, woman, or child stand up with strength and say, I'm proud. I'm black. And that's beautiful.
Now for a look at people and events in the news, here's William Greaves.
The September 7th issue of the Los Angeles Herald-Dispatch headlines that white Americans appear to be armed to the teeth. The article discusses a 5-month study conducted by the Stanford Research Institute, which shows that white Americans have armed themselves with more than one gun for every male citizen of any age, including infants. The study estimates the number of privately owned guns in the United States to be between 115 and 200 million. In New York, the Black Panther Party has filed suit in federal court calling for the decentralization of the city's police department. The suit comes in the wake of last week's attack on 6 Panthers in the Brooklyn Criminal Court building by 200 white men, many of them off-duty police officers, and no arrests have been made. Stokely Carmichael no longer holds membership or office in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It is reported that Mr. Carmichael will become increasingly active in the Black United Front, a coalition of various militant civil rights groups organized across the country. Black militancy and its accent on black pride is having a growing effect on white society, a case in point being the white wig market. The Milwaukee Star reports that one wig manufacturer is selling 2,000 Lafrique wigs a week. A spokesman pointed out that Macy's and Abraham and Strauss in New York both sold out their initial orders with at least 25% of the purchases being white. The Afro wigs have caught on so well with white teenagers that they're now being made in blonde, red, and light brown hair shades. And, of course, the suntan lotion industry continues to boom. At long last.
And yeah, that's it with that video, man.
That's wild at the end, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Afro wigs, yo.
Yeah, they get to talking about everything, man. And one of the things that stood out to me was just it was saying that white people are armed to the teeth. You know what I'm saying? They've been armed. They've been armed to the teeth. And see, the thing is, people want this gun control stuff and all that stuff, and really that's just a tactic to stop black people from owning guns. Let's be fair about the conversation, because when you mention crime rates and all this stuff you know what I'm saying, the demographics is not in our favors, especially being as though that, you know, we're incarcerated 6 times highly more likely than white men. But that's, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into that. That's not saying that black people, just because they have a gun, that they are unsafe for society. But we do see a lot of killings disproportionately in the cities, but that has really nothing to do with the people itself. It has to do with the position that the people are in. That's why you have a poverty to prison pipeline. You have a preschool to prison pipeline, because a lot of our people are born in poverty, and a lot of our people are born in the major cities of the United States. We don't live in those rural areas, which is the majority of the United States. We are in certain pockets of certain cities across the United States, and that's it.
It's true.
So those statistics, although they're there for a reason. They're slightly skewed. They can actually show you the systemic racism against black people if you look at them for the facts that they are, and put your feelings to the side. You would say that most definitely America still has a system that's set in place and that's predicated on the defamation and the demise of the black family and the black men especially.
I would say that is a very true statement, and you know, my question to you is, how do one overcome?
So we overcome, like you said, with a code. We need to operate as a code. It should be certain things that we can't do, like you know, you recognize that you're a part of a certain group and all that stuff when you have a certain code, and a lot of times it includes a dress code. Like if you were in the military, they have a dress code. You don't come in there wearing your own clothes like you're a civilian, like you want to. No, there's a code, you know what I'm saying? And often it's like a dress code too. And what I mean by that is like no do-rags and bonnets and stuff like that in public, because it looks tacky and ghetto, you know what I'm saying? It really do. You know, stuff like that, whereas though we can carry ourselves with a better image. You know, when we get on national stages and stuff like that, when we get on TV and all stuff, we not fighting each other no more. We're not doing that hot ghetto mess no more. We got to control our image, take back our image and the way that they portray us in the movies. Because like I said, at the end of the day, the people in the movies imitate the people in real life, and the people in real life imitate the people in the movies. So art imitates life, and life imitates art. But while we so busy trying to be like the people on TV, the people on TV are trying to make us look so much like real life, and it's just not. There's always going to be that disconnect. And so that's why what we really need is that reality check, and that's what you call this, a reality check. We need that reality check to say, look, man, that stuff is garbage. That stuff is hogwash. Just like you know what I'm saying, the rapping and all that stuff. It's just pure entertainment. So if you're trying to get some type of information from entertainment like that, you're probably not gonna get that much information, unless it's comedy. I know they put a lot of truth in comedy now, but being as though it's cancel culture and the Me Too movement, a lot of stuff has been censored to where as though you can't put it on public platforms, that they'll shut you down, they'll cancel you, except comedy. I see comedy still allows for freedom of speech.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So, little off topic. I seen the Cat Williams stand up. I think it was like, matter of fact, I think it was like Snoop Dogg special. Yeah, special guest on there. It was on Netflix. It was a while ago. Cat Williams on there, and mind you, he's like not even really saying jokes. He's actually just speaking on real topics.
Right.
The audience is laughing, but it's like, I don't even think I laughed maybe at anything he said. Not to say he was corny or nothing like that, but it was just because I felt like, no, he at this point he's actually just speaking to y'all. He's just identifying things that aren't normally talked about, that he felt, you know, at that moment y'all needed to hear, and they just kept laughing. It was almost like he was talking to a bunch of zombies. I hate to say it like that, but that's just how it was. I'm gonna find a video and I'm gonna show it to you, but it just showed me like at that point it's just like, even with the comedy, nah, bro, that's getting diluted too, because people people are truly scared to have the conversation about these real issues, and not just to have the conversation about it, but in my understanding, from my observation, they don't care to solve it.
And look at it from an unbiased point of view, because a lot of things we can't say it's out of fear of hurting somebody's feelings. It's to protect somebody's feelings, and that be the crap that be getting people killed. That's what I was saying. A lot of old people quotes I have respect for, but there's certain ones of those quotes that we had to do away with. That word sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words may never hurt me. That is pure
That's a
lie.
lie.
Sticks and stones and all that stuff and bruises and all that stuff will heal over time. Those words just might not.
I can prove that, man. Like if you take two plants, same plant, put them in a separate room, you speak life over one every day. You water it, every day you need to water it or whatever. And you talking life, you talking words of positivity, reinforcement to that plant. It starts to blossom. This has scientifically been proven. And you look at this other plant that you start speaking negative words and harshness, to that plant, it dies.
Really?
Yes, it's been scientifically proven too.
Really? You gonna have to show me that one. Dang,
Yes,
that's
sir.
hard. If that's true, yeah, that's hard for real. But that would be my solution. My solution is for us to be more practical. And like when you, of course, the scripture is right. Our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Like we need people to be more educated, more aware, more conscious and conscientious of the violence that's going around us. Because in these days and times, people are relying on scientists and Google and all this other stuff with no fact checking. That's exactly why we have this segment with facts over feelings, because we challenging definitions of definitions. We challenging how they even define what a definition even is to begin with. So, you know what I'm saying? Everything is get challenged from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? That we tried and true to see that if it's true or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But we wrapping up on the end of it. You know what I'm saying? We coming up on the time. It's always been a pleasure, man. It's always been a pleasure. I want to clap it up. You know what I'm saying? I want to get that. I want to clap it up, man.
Thanks for having me, Danny. It's always,
man.
Always a pleasure, man. And I hope the viewing audience gained something from this, man, as well as we gained something from this. We were compelled to bring this topic to the forefront. And anytime y'all feel led, man, like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, definitely like and share, man. The link and everything, man, is below, man. It's free to subscribe. It's free to like. It's free to share. It costs money to make this content. It costs time to do the research and everything, man. We doing all this stuff. We look at the videos. These videos long. We putting out segments like, man, come on, man. We need that HBO special. Help the brothers out. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all for watching. The goal gonna be by the end of this month to at least get 25 more subscribers or something. We should be at like 50 subscribers. I'm gonna just start small, but 50 subscribers. That's gonna be the goal. So let's do it. Let's run it up. Hit that subscribe. Hit that like.
Get it.
You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it much, brother.
Already, man. You know how it go, man.
Brother
Facts
Z.
over feelings.
Already, and we out.
Hey, yo, Dre, there's a one right there.